Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Jack, that's me, and we are going to play a little bit of Kerbal Space Program today. I just wanted to show off a few of my favorite mods here. We've got, of course, KSP Interstellar Extended that gives us a bunch of neat high-tech new parts, especially my favorite, the nuclear engines. As you can see on the back, we got the closed cycle nuclear engine here on the back of this battleship that just blew up a space station in orbit of Minmus. They were after crippling the Federation's science of some sort. There's a science pod right there from the Interstellar mod. A bunch of science on top. The attackers apparently were not pleased with Kerbal having control of that science. So, we can see here we've got BD Armory, another of my favorite mods. The radar. We've got an inline radome here. It's working beautifully. I got our targeting pod, give us a view of the battlefield, and a few more little odds and ends here. You can see it's a beautiful looking ship. Now, our response, of course. Kerbal Command cannot allow their stations to just be blown up for whatever reason, so they are launching a response. What we have here is a Mark IV Pendragon destroyer. This one's going to be named Smaug when it gets up there. Hopefully I don't get sued for using that name, but I'm not trying to make any money off of this. It's just a neat name. All of the Pendragon class ships get names after dragons. So this guy is going to be Smaug. You can see we're just doing a little weapons test here, making sure all the turrets are able to swivel and get their line of fire. Make sure all the communications and whatnot work. Just gonna make sure that they work. Hello. So I recorded this previously, and well, truth be told, I'm not very good at recording. This is like the second video I've ever made. Okay, we have liftoff, and my poor video editing skills cut out most of that launch, but who hasn't seen a standard launch? This vehicle, in its current form, as you can see right now, weighs around 55 metric tons. So its orbital insertion package, the launch package, of course, was not exactly impressive. It was just a few engines and a bunch of fuel, and we just launched the sucker up to about 20,000 feet, or I'm sorry, 20,000 meters, and then the closed cycle engine took it the rest of the way into orbit. And as you can see, plenty of power available to do so. Now let's go ahead and line up. We've got a shipwreck out there, and we've got to make sure that we destroy the intruder before our stranded Kerbal in the shipwreck is compromised. Now, the attacking ship, or the invading ship rather, is going to line up its shots first. I did this in a couple takes, just to give you a little bit of spoiler. Each ship is going to destroy the other one in its own turn. I'm going to reload a save game. Basically, I just want to show off the ability of BD Armory to actually be used in space battles. These are couple of tow missiles. They shot a little bit off the starboard bow there. Let's see, those shots are going to be a little off as well. Looks like it went above the target, which would be to the right from your perspective if you're just looking through the view screen, or like east of the target if you're looking from the planet. So anyway, the radar does a great job of telling the laser guidance unit where to look. When it's a small target, though, the scanning of the radar tends to make it lose and regain lock. It makes aiming a bit difficult. As you can see, we're firing unguided SOCOM rockets by leading the target and just kind of guessing where it's going to hit. So it's a little tricky, but close enough. We scored some pretty good hits and took out the ship, crippled it there. Trying to finish off that crew section, and we're going to switch to the Millennium Cannon, which is, of course, had we used that in the beginning, there wouldn't be anything left anyway. Millennium Cannon with its self-detonating rounds is pretty brutal. Okay, so round 2, we're going to try something different. That was the defending ship. Did pretty well at destroying the attacking ship. Now our attacking ship, also a Pendragon class ship. It's a Mark II Pendragon, the second iteration. It is, of course, carrying the namesake Pendragon, even though it was the second ship built, because it was the first to be launched from Kerbin. The very first Pendragon ship was built on an off-world facility on Minmus. It is nicknamed the Luck Dragon. It was a prototype ship before the first production vessel was built. So the Luck Dragon is not the class leader of these particular types of ships. It is, in fact, the first prototype. The class leader being the ship you are watching right now. And of course, there are plans for a 4th Pendragon ship. I haven't decided on the name yet, but it will be a science vessel. As far as what we're using for the parts, as I mentioned earlier, we're using KSP Interstellar for a lot of the propulsion. These neat little pods on the front that you can see there. Let's do a little barrel roll. Do a barrel roll, fucks. Those are from the Kerbal Planetary Base systems, which they're meant to be, planetary bases, but they look super awesome as starship hulls. So anyway, we just let the Smaug pass us by. We did a barrel roll to flip around behind them, and we're going to go ahead and line up our trajectory to make sure that we are chasing, basically. Cruising in at about 38.5 meters per second. More or less dead ahead, lock straight onto the target. And as you can see, we are very much so lined up for a kill shot. Instruments are locked onto the engine, and our position has our very last missile aimed at the starboard side of the vessel. So let's go ahead and pop it right into his armpit, and kablooey. Dunzo. One crippled vessel. And there's the pod, so there's one survivor. Of course, we won't shoot at that because that's just poor sportsmanship, but that is fair game. Kaboom. And there you have it. A lot of armor and heat resistance on those guns. So, both ships obviously able to take out the other. I suppose the only question is, which was the most glorious destruction to determine who actually won this fight. I suppose I could do a 3rd video, switch them both to opposite teams with guard mode on and aim them at each other and see which one blows up first, but that's not so much fun. Anyway, thanks for watching. Until next time.